Hey again, my name's Avery Hunter and I'm an elementary education major. Today's video is going to look a little bit different, just being that we're working with a new song altogether, and that is Zombie by the Cranberries, which was released in 1994 as a response to the 1993 IRA bombing of Warrington, England, which resulted in the death of two young boys named Jonathan Ball and Tim Perry. I would say this video has strong ties to Global Goal 16 in numerous ways. Its existence itself ties into Global Goal 16.8, which calls to strengthen participation in global governance. Additionally, it ties into strong institutions and conflict resolution as it spotlights the failures of the government and political groups when it comes to protecting citizens and resolving disputes peacefully, ultimately serving to underscore our need for a strong and fair institution that can mediate conflict while also upholding human rights. As per usual, I have gone through the text and we're going to talk about three key terms I've identified that I feel best fit the concepts displayed in this music video and kind of analyze how they're used. Our first key term is the uncertainty reduction theory, and this describes how people find the unknown unpleasant and are therefore drawn to get to know a person to reduce that uncertainty. The textbook would exemplify this by pointing out when you get a new coworker. When you get a new coworker, you don't know much about them at first. Your uncertainty's high, but through communication behaviors and paying attention to them, bit by bit you can close this uncertainty. In our music video, the uncertainty reduction theory appears in sort of an atypical way in that they use unresolved emotional uncertainty as a persuasive tool. So at 4 minutes and 5 seconds, just as the video is wrapping up, the vibrant visuals and heavy symbolism vanish, and it's just replaced by this raw and quiet realism as the camera cuts to a black and white view of a child laying still on the pavement, and then whether he's dead or unconscious is left up to the viewer. There is no narration, there is no closure, only stillness and silence as the screen fades, leaving the uncertainty the audience hoped to reduce only intensified. Viewers are disturbed, and that's why it sticks. The band's deliberate lack of closure serves to mirror the ongoing and unresolved nature of the political conflict and violence, while also forcing the audience into both an active cognitive and emotional role. They can no longer simply sit and move on. They have all these questions left unanswered. So, in order to reduce that uncertainty, as predicted, viewers turn to the internet, a process that ultimately will shed more light on the political conflict at hand and incentivize people to spark change. Moving on, let's talk about interpersonal attraction, which is the invisible force that draws people together. According to page 186, the textbook defines this as being due to being physically attracted to someone, being attracted to the type of person they are or what humor they have, being attracted to someone's abilities or dependability, and all these different components that ultimately play a role in who we are drawn towards in both platonic and romantic relationships. This can be seen from 40 seconds into the video to 1 minute and 10 seconds into the video, where Dolores O'Riordan, lead singer of the Cranberries, is painted in all gold, sort of framed by this cross behind her with these children mostly huddled in towards her. This visual suggests that there's a protective and almost nurturing bond between her and the children. I would say the symbolic closeness of this image fosters proximity and affinity, enhancing their perceived similarity and safety, which are both crucial aspects of interpersonal attraction. Last but certainly not least, let's talk about the vividness effect, which is actually a really interesting theory as it focuses on how dramatic or traumatic events may impact the memory of the participants involved. And on page 168 of the textbook, we can see context provided by this by highlighting that mass shootings have less than a quarter of the death rate of the common flu. But due to the dramatic and extensive media coverage on gun violence, we believe it's as common as a car crash. As we wrap up with Zombie and this Global Citizens assignment, I would say that the communication strategy I would want to use to sort of advertise the Global Goal 16 would be to turn the confirmation bias on its head. I think a lot of people ignore serious issues and they get away with it morally by saying the same worn out excuses. So I'd create a video that starts off soft, maybe showing children playing in rubbled streets, some sad music, something that grabs emotional empathy, and then it would suddenly shift to black and white clips, preferably documentary footage, but clips showing the real and the harsh truth behind the scenes. My plan is that this sort of emotional shift will create a whiplash that initializes a vividness effect, ultimately making it harder for viewers to ignore what's going on and hopefully pushing them to look deeper into the issue. When applied to the music video, the vividness effect is, I would say, most noticeably shown through the juxtaposition of violence and symbolic color. At around 40 seconds and continuing throughout the entirety of the chorus, we see these fast cuts through documentary footage of children playing war games in Belfast and British soldiers on patrol, as well as urban murals and symbolic scenes with gold or silver figures. The frequent alteration of this emotionally raw document footage and stylized symbolic imagery captures and holds viewers' attention, therefore solidifying their memory through the vividness effect and emotionally resonant content.